Hey, good morning.
Good morning. What's shaking? How are you?
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you as well. You look great.
Thank you. I love the headphones, the white tee. It's like it's here. It's Friday.
It's Friday. On my beautiful dark chocolate, I love to wear white. I got to really kind of like make it look good.
Fantastic.
So, to everyone that's joining, Kendra is truly freaking badass. I mean, she's just really, really awesome. And she is the founder of BrainTrust, which is an incredible agency that I will let her speak about. And she also has a lot of insight in the world of beauty, data, and wellness, and just overall life. So Kendra, as we get ready to proceed, tell us a little about your professional background and what is BrainTrust?
So thank you for having me on. I was like thinking back to our time. What hotel were we at in New York? Oh my God.
We were at the Bowery Hotel.
The Bowery, laid back on the couch in pre-corona days, having a cocktail. Having cocktails. So thank you for having me. I'm so happy to support you in all that you're doing. And a lot's happening. So it's so funny because it's May 1st and I'm like a new chapter. So BrainTrust is something that I really created. I started a company called Digital Brand Architects back in 2010. And we were literally the first agency to represent bloggers. And of course, back then, no one really knew what that meant, but we were really paving the way for something special. And after we had our investor come in, Irving Azoff, I left that company and started a company called BrainTrust, which is funny because DBA ended up selling to UTA and I ended up selling BrainTrust to CAA. So, we come full circle. But I was literally sitting on my couch and I was like, what am I good at? What do I love? And it really is about having smart people kind of come together that I trust. I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned as an entrepreneur, the role and importance of trusting people in your circle, whether that's like in your immediate circle as a business partner or just in your like cipher in life. And so BrainTrust was really born out of this notion of bringing smart people together to figure things out. And I know that sounds very lofty and practical every day. What we do is we really work with people, we work with institutions, we work with brands, and it's really around brand development, brand management, and leveraging all forms of media and communications to help them really tell their stories or to even create their stories. I think a lot of what we're doing right now is just working to tell really great stories and leveraging events, social media, influencers to kind of help bring it to life.
Okay, fantastic. I mean, you've really kind of hit on every kind of touch point that I have that I'm just like waiting to ask you all these questions. So, you're a dope ass chick. And, to all the women that are listening today, you sold a company to CAA. And for people who don't know, CAA, Creative Arts Agency plus Global Brand Groups, which are two massive companies, and then you bought it back. Tell us that experience and why.
So it's funny because when we started DBA, we literally had on our vision board that we were going to get sold to CAA. It was like our dream. And we were like, CAA, oh, I'm all about a vision board. I'll like send you photos. And so that was our thought. But when we first met with them, they kind of gave us this lowball offer. And then they proceeded to try and like pick off our talent. It's Hollywood. And we didn't know. We had like all of our talent listed on our website. This was back in the day. And so we quickly learned and moved away from that. And someone from Brillstein literally told us we were going to win in the streets. And they were like, why are you like trying to do that deal? Like you're going to win in the streets. So moved away from that. And then funny enough, Halle Berry, who, I want to talk about, she was my client. She worked with us at DBA. And so whenever I said, oh, I'm starting this agency, she was like, cool, you're really the only person I work with. I'll come on board with you. And so that really kind of shifted everything for me. And, we're still business partners and still working together, but it was through her that I met Perry Wolfman, who was the head of licensing at CAA at the time. And we were working together on a project that Halle was doing. And after that project, he literally said to me, you know, we're working with Kelly Ripa on her home line. Can you guys help out? And we did. And they were working with Jaden and Will on Just Water. We came in and did some strategy work there. And then we helped Drew Barrymore launch Dear Drew with him. And so, you know, as a business owner, I'm like, oh my gosh, so much of my revenue is coming from this one source. I need to protect it. And so I literally said to Perry, you know, can we do some type of a partnership deal? And he was like, or we could just buy you and we could just acquire the company. And I was like, or you could do that. So in the midst of us having this conversation, CAA did a joint venture with Global Brands Group, which really was kind of why I wanted to even partner with them, because it was never really about doing social media for celebrities or talent. It was really about brand building. So in every equation, it was about a talent wants to launch their own brand, and me and my team really helping articulate that. So Global Brands Group was literally the largest kind of brand management firm, licensing firm. So it worked for us because we weren't going to sit on the side of helping talent with social. We were going to sit on the side of brand building, which is really my passion and what I love to do. So got into that with like the best intentions. If anyone's ever been to the CA offices, you know, walking in there is already like, my office was literally like at the end of one of the long hallways. So my team and I came in like super funky and feisty. We were told that we had the most diverse team literally in the entire company. So that made me feel great, like rolling in there deep. And it was great. I learned a lot, made a ton of relationships, but it just wasn't really for me. I'm such like a scrappy entrepreneur, like can have an idea in the morning and figure out how to execute it by the day. I just roll like that. So, you know, it was great for what it was until it wasn't. And so Carrie and I had a hard conversation and just kind of figured it out. And, you know, I had to do a bill of sale to get in. You got to do a bill of sale to get out. So that's what happened. And then I was very fortunate because Moj Mahadera, who is like a force of vision, like just so passionate, the CEO and founder of BeautyCon. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No. I'm listening. This is dope. Keep talking, girl. Keep going.
Like, go. I'm like, just give me a thumbs up. She, I had been talking to her. So Moj was one of our early supporters of DBA and actually was going to be one of our investors before Irving Azoff came in. And I had been talking to her about the deal and she had been advising me, and, you know, her advice is always really spot on. She's got an amazing kind of gut intuition. So as I was coming out of the deal, I was like, I need to figure this out. I know what I want to do. And she's like, come help me at BeautyCon. And you can bring, you know, what's left of your BrainTrust team and we'll like figure it out and make it work. And so, you know, my team and I moved into the BeautyCon offices. I eventually became, and am, the chief business officer at BeautyCon, really helping from a business and partnership strategy perspective. So I wear many hats.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, it also goes back to trust. Like whenever I came in, I said to Moj, I said to Hallie, like, these are the things I'm doing. BrainTrust is important to me. Hallie's important to me. I work with Revelation Studio, Morgan Freeman's company. Morgan and his team are important to me. So, you know, you got to roll with it. And I think there's no set straight line of how business works. But as long as you have people around you that understand how you move and want to support your vision and you can get it done, you know, I have a high capacity for work.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, your energy is just so fucking dope. And I mean, you know, to all the females that are listening today and all the men, I mean, you know, the first time that I got opportunity to meet you and have cocktails with you, I think that you're an incredible, exceptional human being. And I love your energy and I love your drive. And, you know, this is great to have you on our show. So thank you very much as we are just getting started. So this is dope.
Thank you.
And so, you know, how and when did you recognize influencers as a strategic initiative? There was recently an article in Women's Wear Daily about the influencer industry. You may have read that, and they asked the question, why do we follow influencers and what is the value influencers bring? You know, what do you think about that?
So I was reading that. That's a good question. It's funny because I was on a Zoom. I was presenting yesterday to a group of beauty and wellness founders, like a really big group that Natasha Kornstein, the founder or the CEO of Blushington, put together, and Ginny Fine was on that. And we were having such a great conversation. And Ginny is the business or beauty, I'm sorry, she's the beauty director. I'm gonna mess up that title at Women's Wear Daily. And we were having a similar conversation. So here's the thing about influencers. Like, I truly believe in influencers and talent and their ability to move people to take action. Like, at the core, the definition of an influencer is somebody who can move someone else to take action. That might be a purchase, it might be watching a video, it might be making a comment, but in our own right, everybody is an influencer to somebody else. Now, the scale of that influence, right, is different. And for me, like, I wasn't one of those people who was like, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. But I was one of those people that, you know, when I was in 6th grade, I was like, I want to work in PR. And I got an internship at one of the largest PR firms. I was one of those people that said, I want to be a VP. I want to do this. I want to do that. And so when the opportunity around influencers came, it was very natural because I was already in a position where I was actually working at Fleishman Hillard, and I did become the youngest VP there, but I was leading a new initiative around social media and influencers. And so I saw it from such a different perspective. So like 2002, I'm working with MySpace. I'm creating programs with MySpace. You know, I was doing a lot of stuff from just a message board and forum perspective, like back in the day before there was Facebook, before, you know, I started my first company and there was no Instagram, there was no Pinterest, there weren't these channels, but we were always in message boards and forums talking to people. Like, I did so much with MTV and the VMAs, and so much of the promotion for the artists was all through message boards and forums. So influencers to me have such a different kind of reference point. And I'll never forget, I was the first director of digital media at Ralph Lauren, and I really launched their influencer program. So I would sit with David Lauren and we would just like look at blogs for hours and hours. And he'd be like, why is that blogger wearing Collection and wearing Lauren by Ralph Lauren?
Yeah.
Like, it was like, that can't happen. If they're wearing Collection, they're wearing Collection. And I'm like, no, that's like the power of influencers. And literally when we started DBA, it was this notion that we just had a ton of influencer blogger friends. And when I went to David and said, oh, I'm starting a company to manage bloggers, his first thing was, as long as they're wearing Ralph Lauren.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. And I remember saying to the girls, to the bloggers, like, you're literally trying to get all this stuff and people don't want to pay you, but you have actually more traffic to your website than Ralph Lauren does. And that was like my aha moment of like, wait a second. So I think that there will always be influencers in some form or fashion. I think that it's the scale of which you can move an audience to action. That was a long story. You have to cut me off. I'm like,
no. I want you to, you know, just share, you know, this whole group think is all about sharing and encouraging and uplifting, because during this time, you know, we all need it. We're all looking for inspiration. And so whatever insight that you may have, someone may be able to get a nugget out of it. And so keep talking. This is what this is about. And, you know, so blessings to you. And so,
and I love the name groupTHINK. That was like what BrainTrust, what you're doing is so amazing. Because when I sat there, I was like, oh my gosh, BrainTrust, we're going to like write on the whiteboard and we're going to have smart conversations and we're going to solve problems. And,
you know, it's funny, right? Because, you know, as we dive deep into what you're about data, like I go off intuition, right? I've always been that way since I was a kid. And I came up with the concept in the shower, right? Because that's where all my great thoughts come from, in the shower. And I was like, fuck it, let's just do it, right? And then it's just kind of like take it off a little bit, right? And I'm just so thankful, so blessed that my network is just really incredible. And I'm just bringing people in to share their stories. And this is what this is about. And, you know, and I want to also credit, you know, my business partner, right? Because we built the playbook and it's all about timing. And, you know, you've talked to Melanie, so it's all about timing, and the timing is right for us right now to do this. So it's just an honor to just be building this, because it is what it is.
Right. It's, you know what, timing is just everything. Like, it's the divine blessing in lifetime and how things kind of come into being. And like, I love what you said about the shower, because I think what I really constantly pray for is to keep my eyes open and
Amen.
like not miss it, right? Because you go so fast, but if your eyes aren't open, if you're not like willing to receive, then things can get lost. So I'm constantly like, oh my gosh, God, please help me to see, please help me to keep my eyes open so that I don't miss it. And finding those moments where you can actually like hear, you know?
You know, I think it's also, you know, very beautiful. You said that, you know, I have to be by the water and I have to feel it. And that's one of the prayers that my grandmother taught me when I was a young kid. She was always saying, you know, ask God to open your eyes so you can see, and open your ears so you can hear. So it's a credit that you realize that too, because many people don't realize that, you know, they can only see what's in front of them, but there's more to it. If you really open your eyes, you can see.
Yes. Oh my God.
So not to go off on a tangent on that, because we could get super deep. So at the beginning of COVID-19, a few influencers made some mistakes, or should I say missteps, on how they were handling it. When something like that happens, how do you manage that for them?
So, you know, it's so complicated, because it's complicated, right? Because you have people who are trying to find a sense of normalcy for themselves and their businesses, right? So influencers, while everyone is kind of caught up in what happens with business, like so much of their livelihood is based upon being able to share their lives, do these great things, review products, go on great trips. And so, you know, I think that it's empathy and compassion that we're all trying to figure it out. It's funny because we worked with someone whose publicist wouldn't let them have access to their social media accounts, right? Like their publicist was like, you can't know your password. I'm not going to give it to you. I'm just so worried that you're going to make a mistake. And, you know, over time that really loosened up. And the talent was just like, I can't believe it. I'm so upset. And it was really like for that person's protection, so that we could help monitor and manage what they were doing so that we wouldn't get in those situations. But then I realized it's really not for us to manage. And the beauty and the connectivity with influencers is that real, how they're feeling, what they're doing, that can't be staged. And when you try and put control or put so many boundaries around it, you kind of lose the magic. Like that's what people really like. So I saw it and I felt bad, and I was like, that could be managed differently. But you also see the true nature of people in times of crisis. And so it just makes you think about them differently. I mean, we're all making mistakes. Even like my personal social is like, I don't even know what to say about it. And I was posting stuff because I refused. Like, even when Kobe passed away, I was like, I'm so deeply saddened by the situation that I can't even post about it. Like, I can only post about the things that are not hurting me so deeply, or that I'm thinking about so passionately. And so let me keep posting, you know, great quotes and as I know it. So, you know, someone's going to be upset with something, and it's all about your perspective. But we also have to remember, you never really know. Like, never know what's really happening on the other side, how people feel, the mechanisms of which they cope, and the life that they lead, and how they portray that on social may be their only outlet for normalcy.
Yeah, no, I think, you know, we're all crying out for help in so many different ways, you know, but to just one little funny point, if I see another fucking workout video on social or someone fucking cooking again, I'm going to lose it. Like, we get it. You work out. We get it. You cook. Stop it. Give me something else.
We get it. You work out. Wait, did you see, I did, like, my friends are like, you got to do Wellness Wednesday. You know, we're all in like so many WhatsApp and chats and stuff. So, but my really close friends were like, okay, we're going to do Wellness Wednesday and all this stuff. So I was like, for the first time in my life, like, I posted about Wellness Wednesday, and I just got this aqua bike. And so I posted a picture of me and my daughter on the aqua bike. People were like DMing me. I was like, oh man, what did I?
Yeah, we get it. No more workout videos. We don't care anymore. Give me something else. So, you know, for the person who is thinking about starting a company right now, is there anything that you didn't think about that you wished you had?
Oh gosh, that's such a good question. That I wish I had thought about. I wish I had thought about, my first thing is relationships and people, and the dynamics between them when starting a company. Because I think about like the iterations of what I've started. So my first company was with one partner, and then we brought in another partner, and the trifecta of that. Then BrainTrust, I literally was like, I don't want any partners. I did it on my, I'm doing it. Clearly with the help of my team, I can't do anything, but from a partnership equity perspective, my really best, dearest friend of 21 years, actually it'll be 22 years, left his job. He was in retail at Macy's for a long time, a furniture buyer, and then was a business partner at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And when we were doing the deal with CAGBG, I was like, finally, I can afford you, please come. And so he's now my partner in the business. And we're actually starting another business called Global Beauty Tribe with the girls from Technique Agency. So, and that's completely a different model because that's literally 4 partners in one company. But I think about understanding the dynamic of what happens in relationships when you build something together. I think about, I'm Hallie's business partner in Respin. We sat on the floor and came up with the concept. I will never forget, she texted me and was like, I have the name for it. There's so much that goes into building things. But Respin is her company, which is different. And I am a partner in supporting her in that. But the dynamic of relationships, because when we started DBA, I literally one Saturday morning, I called Karen Rabinovitz, my partner, and I had only known her for 3 months. I'd only met her in person twice. And I said, oh my gosh, I've been thinking about you all night long. I texted her, she called me. I said, I have an idea to manage bloggers. She said, me too. That same day we put up a website, and she said, oh, this is key. She said, I have a name. Well, I was like, cool, digital brand architects. I love that. She's like, I have a logo. Put up a website that Saturday. Sunday, got our husbands together for brunch. Monday, filed for an LLC. And we were off running, right? And all the lawyers were like, oh, you guys need to figure out how you get out of it. You got to do this. You got to do that. And I didn't understand it the way that I understand it now, especially wanting to leave something that we built. And now neither one of us are there. And of course, it's a whole amazing team. And Rain has done phenomenal job growing and running that business and growing it. Everyone, Raina, Vanessa, Risa. So, but that dynamic, and I remember saying to her at one point, we wouldn't be friends if we didn't have a business together. And I didn't know the power of those words.
Yeah.
And then it's a fine line. Now I think about BrainTrust, that I started myself, got us, this far. And then to have someone who's been so close in the personal relationship be in the business. And there's times when we're fighting, full on fighting, but it's more brother and sister fighting because we were friends, but it pours into the business. Yeah. And where you're like, I don't even want to see you. I don't care if it's Sunday and we're going to church together. Don't sit on that pew with me because I'm upset about a tracking report that didn't get done. But it is because, the reality is that you're going to work hard. You're going to figure the money out. We started DBA. We didn't have, someone told me that I never should have started a company without at least 25 grand in the bank. And I'm like, well, then we wouldn't have started it. Everyone has their own personal finance of why or this or that. But at the end of the day, the relationships are what make or break the company. It's always about the people. And that's no matter if you're running your own business or you're working in a company. The hardest thing throughout the day is never the work. It's always the dynamics with the people. So if you're starting a business, it really is figuring out who do I need to get this business off the ground? What's the shared IP? How do we share that? What's the provision if we don't want to share it anymore? And really doing the side by side. What do I do against what you do? Because that's how people become resentful, when they feel like one person is doing more. But that you gotta figure that out. That is, to me, the most important piece of the puzzle when starting anything.
No, I couldn't agree more, and I had this incredible woman Yana on the other day, and we were talking about, ego is something else that can destroy a business partnership. So it's great to hear your point of view on that as well.
Yes, ego. Woo! You just need to bring a whole lot of people and talk about that.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. So let's also shift gears a little bit. You spoke about BeautyCon, and so as just to give some some understanding, within a year or so, you created a strategic partnership with BeautyCon. Can you tell us what BeautyCon is for people who don't know, and what it can do for a brand? What is the benefit of a brand to participate with BeautyCon?
Yeah, so Mo's just done a phenomenal job with growing that, building that. BeautyCon is the largest experiential beauty event in the world. Literally started with 300 YouTubers kind of coming together, and has exploded with, we had over 32,000 people at the LA festival last August, 20,000 in New York. We did our first festival in Japan last year. It's just, it's phenomenal. I mean, I have loved it from the start, which is why it's so natural. There's just like an energy and like a spirit, and just the moving of people coming together, and the glitter and and it's so much more than just like makeup or hair care or free products. It really is a community, and BeautyCon is really about bringing beauty together. And talking to the founders and the executives. It's kind of the one place where everyone is there. Everyone wants to discover. Everyone's running around. You've got Cardi B on stage, but you also have Ulta launching 6 products. You've got good, Maybelline on the side. Everything and anything kind of coming together. And so, for a lot of our brands, and this year, figuring out what happens with coronavirus, the festival was moved from August to December in LA, and October 31st and November 1st in New York. But really figuring out the space for new brands. I know your brands will be there, but we've created this new indie pavilion so that we can make sure that the indie brands are getting just as much, fanfare as some of the larger, more established brands that have the money to show up. But it's amazing. And Moja's been doing these beauty convos online and really figuring out how to do more from a digital perspective with our audience. But it's great. I mean, everyone should go to beautycon.com and check out some of the past videos.
plug. So, just to also, speak to the people that are listening, you are, again, a badass fucking chick, right? And so, you've built data-first businesses around niche influencers. What does that mean, and what is considered a great metric to be successful?
Oh my gosh. And I am so excited. Like, we'll have to come back. I'm getting ready to do a joint venture with this super dope company out of Israel. That's like just really cool. There's so much. So part of what we've been doing, I guess I'd say last year, my years are kind of rolling together. We launched this white paper around a new tool called influencer data mapping. And I was going around talking about like predictive trends analysis, and the whole concept is that we can learn so much from influencers and data. So I've been doing a lot of work with Creator IQ and a company called Cherry Pick. And we, BrainTrust and myself, kind of sit in the middle of all of this data. So influencer data mapping is literally using AI technology so that we can look at influencers through the lens of brand partnerships, affinities, affiliates, and interest that's much deeper than just the standard demographics that you're going to get just looking at their Instagram. And it's really helping us de-risk partnerships that we do or brands that we create. So we're working on a project right now with someone, and we literally, in partnership with Cherry Pick, we're able to see, like, they want to do a beauty brand. So it's phenomenal. Like, what other brands resonate? What ingredients does your audience gravitate towards? Should you be doing clean beauty? Should you not be doing clean beauty? Down to like, if you created a body wash, would your audience want that? And it's just phenomenal because as more and more influencers are looking to create their own brands, and more people are moving to direct to consumer models and e-commerce businesses, you want to make sure that you're not creating something and then sitting on a lot of inventory. And just because an influencer is like, I love that $150 bottle of La Mer, does not mean that your audience is going to convert to a product that you create at that price point. So much of the influencer's audience is based on aspirational, people wanting to, but people not actually being able to buy. So like even with Sally Beauty, client of BrainTrust for 3 years, the first thing we did with them was really use this to look at their entire audience. And we looked at this, I mean, we started with so many influencers, and it was, do you have curly, kinky, coily, wavy hair, right? Because Sally was really trying to move into hair textures and hair types, and less like, are you black or white, Hispanic, right?
Yeah,
or biracial.
Yeah.
So we looked at all influencers that had that hair type, and then we narrowed it down. Like, does that influencer naturally talk about Sephora, that? And that was important because it's for Sally Beauty and their price point and location. It's harder to convert someone from a Sephora, and it's easier to convert someone from a CVS or like a Walmart. So we had to narrow that. So if the influencer was Sephora, Ulta, we took them out, right? You could talk about other adjacent retailers, but not
you may have
really was super still, and then you were gone.
But guess what? I'm back. So continue, because I lost a lot of that. So let's just move around and let's shift a little bit of gears and get us back to normal. And so on a personal side, how are you managing living day to day during this coronavirus?
Oh gosh, that's a really good question. So I have a 5-year-old.
Okay.
And I think the hardest part has been, she is not used to seeing me just be on Zooms all day, because it's one thing to be at work, it's another to kind of be in the same place. So she's like, Mommy, all you do is talk on the phone. And I'm like, I still go to work, and you still go to school. So it's so hard because we're together, but I'm like in doing my thing and she's doing hers. I think adjusting to like homeschooling is really hard. Like I was like, I could not figure out the difference between a long vowel and a short vowel, like at all. I was like, I don't know this answer. I cannot figure it out. And my husband is the director of building operations for Madison Square Garden, which is why we actually moved to LA from New York. And he opened up the Forum. And the Forum, you know, of course, there's no concerts, there's like nothing. So for him, he still has to go to the venue, but he's also home. So for someone who's used to, you know, having concerts literally like pretty much all week long and being in an arena, like he's now here. So we've got homeschool, we've got him here. I'm on Zooms all day. You know, all I think about is like just how blessed we are.
Yeah, amen.
You know, we're like, we have everything we need. We have a beautiful home. We have food. We are all here. And it's been really nice. I think we were so used to like, I'm going to New York 2 or 3 times a month. She's got dance and swim and all these things, and he's got concerts, and we somehow meet in the middle. So it's been nice. And now we've got some weather, so we're swimming, and you know, so I'm just doing what we do.
Yeah, no, I dig it. And so, you know, with all the shifts that will come post COVID-19, what do you see as new opportunities for your business?
Oh my gosh. I'm like so fired up. I try and sleep till like 5:30 every day. Mm-hmm. But it's usually like 4 o'clock. I'm like, okay, you gotta like make it till at least 5. I'm like whiteboarding out all these things. I'm having time to like do all the work stuff, but also like this company in Israel is amazing. And I feel like had we not been in Corona or COVID, we wouldn't have had a chance to come up with just different ideas. And it's coming from a place of survival. I mean, all of the small businesses, we're trying to figure out, all of our clients, like we have our base of business, but so much incremental revenue to fuel the business comes from our events. Honestly, Essence is a big piece of our revenue for the back half of the year, because we do so many events with our clients there. And then like we would normally be doing, with Sally, we were doing like anywhere from like 8 to 12 events a year with Can2. So it really has shifted it. So part of it was me being like, okay, I did so much to get my company back. I'm not going to go down now. So it's the opportunity to really like look at your passion. What's the market? We just, on the BrainTrust side, we just got a warehouse in downtown LA, and we're doing e-commerce and fulfillment. So part of our, part of our strategy is, as we look at developing brands with influencers and talent, we now have all of the means. We have the data piece, which we were talking about, to really analyze their audience, see what products make sense. We have a manufacturing partner where we can do product on demand. We now have a warehouse that is, they also do medical, so we're not going down. We've been shipping during, during the pandemic. So I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like all the pieces are coming together. And so coming out of this, when we can get back to events and shooting, we have such a great foundation for what we were doing, but now just at such a scale. I mean, and I credit that really to Hallie and Respin, because we were going to always launch Respin later because she has a movie coming out, Bruised. So
that's the question I'm getting ready to ask you. So
okay, you're like,
don't give it all away to the people, okay? Don't do it. Don't do it.
So we'll do another session post-COVID, all the businesses that launched, or the evolution of your business.
Yeah. Well, it's about you. Troy Skincare is and will be a multi-billion-dollar empire. I'm saying it to the world. Yes. Melanie, and you know her, we've worked our fucking ass off for this, and we're not giving up, and we're coming to conquer. So that's another story too.
I have something for you for that. Just you wait. I'm going to pitch you. You're going to be like, yes, yes, and yes. I have to be your e-com partner. I have a whole plan.
Okay. Well, she is the CEO, so I'm going to have to connect us all on email and let her handle that, okay? So, what beauty or wellness brand is doing it right? And I got a lot of questions, so this may run over for like 10 more minutes, okay? I mean, not 20, 30 more minutes for the people.
So there's a lot of beauty brands that are doing great things. I have to say, I've been very fortunate to be part of the beauty and wellness community. And there's a lot of people just like sticking together, making it work. We just launched Beauty United, which really was the brainchild of Moj, where she was like, oh my gosh, what do we do? Like, we have to bring people together. And she called her good friend, Gwyneth Paltrow, who's been just so brilliant and smart in terms of just helping. And she said, I'm working with this organization called Frontline Responders Fund. And Beauty United really was born of this notion of like, it's a grassroots effort bringing beauty leaders, executives, founders together.
GroupTHINK, same thing.
GroupTHINK, that's what it's all about. And
yeah.
So we worked with the Frontline Responders Fund. They're trying to raise $10 million. So we put together this video. You can go to thebeautyunited.org, and you can also go to Instagram, Beauty United, and literally we're at about 7.5 million. So we're trying to get to our goal. But
you raising that cash.
It's not, everybody is doing it. It is like an industry-wide Frontline Responders Fund. Has like amazing people supporting it. All these founders and executives came together literally within like a week, 2 weeks to put out this video. And then literally all of the brands involved, over 80 brands, donated products to frontline healthcare workers. So we have everything was sent to the Javits Center, and we're literally distributing it to hospitals in need. So it's phenomenal. And then we're getting ready to, on May 14th, launch Shop Beauty United Day. Okay. So all of the brands are giving 100% of their proceeds from that day to the Frontline Responders Fund. So it's just amazing. I'll send you information to send to the community, but it's, so beauty's coming together. I mean, you look at Glossier and the live tutorials. You look at Violet Gray, who's now going to be doing appointments. You look at Kiehl's, who's doing consultations. You look at Olive & June, who's doing like mani kits. I mean, all over the industry, you're seeing pockets of beauty brands coming together. And more than that, I mean, look at what Milk Makeup is doing. I mean, it's phenomenal. And they are pivoting smartly, but they're also doing so much good. Like all of them are trying to donate and participate. And that, I think, like, I mean, even outside of beauty, even Croc is like donating shoes to medical workers. Dove is giving, you know, Vaseline has been donating. So, and those are through the big, like, you have the smaller independent brands, then you also have the big brands, and everyone's kind of coming together. I think our next mission is to really figure out the hairstylist, the makeup artist. You know, the Professional Beauty Association has started a fund.
Yeah, they did. They sure did.
And it's like, I invested in a beauty salon, press and curl bar last year, which I'm super excited about. And so I look at, you know, Micah Brown, who owns the salon, and all the work that she's doing to try and maintain. Because if your sole business is going in and doing someone's hair or doing someone's eyebrows, I have a Zoom call with Sumita, and she is like, you know, world renowned, like brow specialist. And even for her, how do you come back in, even if the stay-at-home ban is off, when you're touching someone's face and that's the one part you were told not to touch? So really figuring out, how do we support that entire industry? That's what beauty is about. Like, beauty, and especially for you know, African-American, Black, brown, multicultural, so much of the industry was because, like, Black women were literally at their homes putting themselves through school by doing each other's hair.
Yeah,
like,
that's a fact.
The salon is so much more.
That's where it started from. The salon started from us.
Yeah, that's what, and it was never just about the hair. It was always about the stories and bringing the community together. So there's so much richness and heritage, and like such a vibrant part of society that happens. Not to get like esoteric, but it's true. In the Nelson, the beach. I mean, I think about the amount of meetings where I'm like, guys, like, we gotta just do this meeting in the nail salon. There's no other time. Like,
super facts. It's super facts.
Take a computer in the chair, getting my hair done.
I watched this really incredible documentary, because that's all I've been doing. I've been literally just YouTubing everything and just learning. And I watched this documentary on Sam Walton, you know, the greatest merchant in the world, right? And he said this, he said, whoever can satisfy the Americans' new shopping need will win. And when he did that in the 1950s, he had his ear to the ground, and he was always studying, always watching, right? And he satisfied the need of Americans, and Walmart is what Walmart is. And so, you know, people may have a negative connotation to it, but when he built it, he was a solid dude. So I recommend anyone who's here, you know, is the documentary on Sam Walton and how he built Walmart. Is a phenomenal a phenomenal watch. So
I'm doing that. Thank you.
Yeah. You know, this is all about dropping gems and sharing.
I was like, dropping the gems.
So as we continue, you know, you are also an investor. So please tell us, you know, for all the people that are listening who are maybe female or maybe men, you know, what do you look for when you want to invest in a company?
I literally, that can be another segment. I went down this path where I was like, I'm going to create a private equity fund. And I had such amazing people. Catherine Finney, who is the creator of Digital Undivided. She also won the President Obama Champion of Change Award for her work. She created Project Diane, where she literally did this amazing research study on investments and like how, like, especially between, you know, brown women and the investments that are made in their companies. And she's just such an inspiration because she's an investor. So I call her, she lives in Atlanta. I'm like, I got to talk to you. I got to fly to Atlanta. I got to like talk. She gives me this book to read because I'm like, I'm about to be this. Man, no. I got to like the first chapter. I was like, what? You make 2%? This is hard. Da, 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 da. I'm venture funds. I will say 2021, BrainTrust is going to launch a talent venture fund so that we can help invest more money in brands. It's something I'm extremely passionate about. I need to have the right people around me. My investments now have been more just what you said on gut and what I can do. I like want to do so much more, and that's a big plan of mine for 2021. But like with Press and Curl Bar, one of our investments that we did, you know, Micah has been my hairstylist for a long time. She does not get credit for this because this is Corona. I don't know what. I don't know if anyone's gonna like, but
I just shaved the other day. I got to get this chocolate back. I got to be feeling sexy again.
I gotta get this chocolate back. I know it's hard. I'm like, oh, but you know, it was really like she presented the concept. I was like, I love this. I know your work. I know your clientele. I think that it can be successful. Like, do I think I'm going to see anything from it? And then, you know, before 5 years? No, but it's really about the vision and understanding of what it can be and like lending my expertise. And so that's really what it is. Like, how can I come in and support when I have the means to do it? It really is like something that I'm passionate about, but it is on my vision board to really double down and to do it. And what I found is that I don't have to try and create like a P group or like a venture group, and like I can really, you know, do what I can now. And it doesn't mean that we're out here investing millions and millions and millions, but the small piece that you can do can help a business. And I only want to do things where, you know, the person is receptive to me being like, let me help you with your business plan. Like, let me help you with your model. Let's figure out how do we grow? Like, did we analyze this? Who are the competitors? In the case of Press and Curl Bar, it's like we're looking at Dry Bar a lot because the concept is really around like press and curls in, you know, 90 minutes, an hour for women of color, and like being able to have the, you know, the dry bar for us so we can get in and out. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my Melanie, she sent me information about that, the dry bar for women of color. I think that, you know, is going to be fucking phenomenal. I think that's, you're onto something when you get in with that one.
Right.
And so
your products there, because we have a retail storefront in downtown LA. So
I mean, we're gonna talk about all this, right? You know, we're gonna talk about all. She's the CEO, so I got to run a lot of things past her. So, you know, this is a very interesting and great topic. So, being a woman of color, being a Black woman, what are some of the challenges you faced in this beauty industry that doesn't speak to us?
Oh, gosh. You know, it's so funny because I never really, it took me a second to really understand it all in terms of like being a Black woman in business. And Essence just did in the March-April issue. I'm on the digital cover with a lot of phenomenal Black.
Get it.
And so we're on the digital cover, and then we're also in book. And being there, it just was so amazing to like hear other people's stories and to see us all there, like just like doing so many great things. And so often you're in the room, and I never experienced it as much as I did kind of at CAA and being in that conglomerate of CAA GBG, and just being, I was always used to kind of being the only one. And then with my own company, because we are so diverse and so rich, you kind of get caught up in it that you forget. And then you go back into these spaces where you're being the only one. And it's hard. It's hard for women. It's hard for men. It's hard for everyone. But it is just so much harder. I had somebody tell me I was working on a deal with with one of the big management agencies and one of the big talent management agencies and big talent agents. And it literally, if I had looked like the blonde at the table, the deal would have gone so much differently. And somebody said it to me afterwards, and I was like, oh, I know. And that's fine. Like, I get it. And like, at the end of the day, it's about getting the deal done. So whoever needs to present it so we can, but it's like, really, it has to be that way. But you also have to be big enough in business to know that like, your light is still going to shine and you're still going to do the thing and you're still going to make your money, and you got to take your ego out of it. You got to get it done, and then you have to do things to support other people. Like I'm in the Adweek executive mentor group, and I love that. My mentee is phenomenal. Like I look at, you know, that work and everything that Neville is doing and what he's overcoming and what he's building. He actually built his grooming line, Sons of Hollis, as well as working too. And so for me, it's like, how do I encourage and give back and make sure that I'm supporting this next group of leaders so that they have a seat at the table? And at the same time, like I have to pick my battles, know when to lean into others to support while still holding my ground.
Yeah.
To get it done. You know, you don't want to be like the team of one because you were so offended and hurt. You have to address it, you have to move forward, and you have to make sure that you're protecting and holding space for other people. But it's not, it is a, you know.
No, it's challenging. And I think, you know, that's something that, you know, we need to keep speaking about. You know, I think, you know, what has allowed Melanie and I to work, because, you know, she's a John Brown, like she understands what's going on, right? Like we worked and she gets it, right? And so I completely understand. That's a topic that we can continue having that conversation, but thank you for sharing your experiences with that. And, you know, I want to really kind of dive into this. You know, you work with Halle Berry, and I remember our conversation that we had about that, you know, and so please tell us what Respin is and how did that all come about? And, you know, this is great to hear.
So, oh my gosh, it's so, it's just amazing actually, like, because you forget, like you forget that it's Halle Berry because she's so like special and real. And I remember saying to her, like, oh my gosh, you've been consistent. Like I can't even work with any other talent because I'm so spoiled by how wonderful she is and how real and consistent and like caring she is, and just super supportive. And I think about other people that I've worked with, and it is always support. Like there's always support. It's like, first one to be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, you're in Essence, you know, not like, wow, like why would they pick you, which some people did say to me, or were like, why would you, you know. So when we started working together, I honestly had no idea that we would end up kind of in this moment of Respin. But Respin really, like in the early 2000s, Halle created this site called Hollywood. And she was like engaging with her fans and talking to her fans and like doing all this stuff by herself, like literally in her house. And so when we started working together, she was like, I want to bring, you know, Hollywood back. Like she had this group of people called the Groovers. And so we literally sent out an email to people and we're like, do you want to be part of this? And they were like, I was a Groover back in the day. I was this, I was that. And it just evolved. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think we're onto something. And like, I want to have a place that's for everybody. She was Revlon for 20 years, so she knows her audience. You know, she's been in the industry for a long time. So we literally, we were thinking we were going one direction. And then I mentioned it earlier, we literally were on the floor in her apartment, like scribbling out with a few people, talking through like what it should be and research and data. So we literally used our tool and we found that she over indexes 9 times in fitness. She indexed like 6 times in terms of like mental well-being and health and like all these attributes. And she lives that lifestyle. Like she is not someone who believes that you get a, you know, a miracle potion and it changes everything. She works out every day. She's been eating healthy. I mean, when you go to Respin and you go under the letter from Halle, like she talks about being a diabetic and healing herself through food. So she's keto, but she wasn't keto from a fad. That's just how she lives her life. So Respin really is the epitome of what she believes. It really is about, you know, connecting to people, nourishing your soul, awakening your mind. She has an amazing books in bed series. And like, how do you awaken your mind? How does travel awaken your mind? We talk about giving, the importance of giving. Like she just is doing the All-In Challenge with Dana White so that we can give. She was just part of the BET Giving Special. She personally gives to the Genesee Center, which she's been, you know, working with them for over 20 years. So it's when you have someone who's connected and passionate and real about the brand that they want to create, it makes it such an honor and it makes it easy to vibe and to work with them. And so Respin really is all of those things. And we had been working on it, and we were planning to launch it later. And we just launched Respin by Halle Berry, her fitness equipment collection in retail. And literally like in January, into January, February, and then COVID hit. And so all of the fans were like, oh my gosh, I can't get the product. I can't get the product. And so we said, you know what, like, it's never going to be perfect. But now is a good time to be able to give back to her audience. And I think that's the balance. Like, you talk about brands launching new beauty products and trying to sell and trying to do all these things. For us, it was really about creating a community of inspiration and of well-being. It was never about like, let me go launch this brand. I think that's why people have been so supportive. And so Respin really is this community. People are talking, engaging. Hallie's, popping in. And we do have our fitness equipment, and we will have other products come out. And the feedback from people being like, I'm at home, I just learned how to do this at home workout. People love it, love it, love it. And so it's amazing. Like, it's a great brand. There's going to be so many more things to come. I'm so honored to be part of it with her. And if you go to the Apple store or the Android store and you put Respin in, you can download the app. It's also respin.com. It's RE-spin, SPIN. And the whole concept is you can respin everything you thought you ever knew about life, about relationships, about anything in your life.
That's pretty dope, and I did have a chance to meet her, and I gave her Troy skincare products.
Yes.
So yeah, I remember the conversation that you and I had we were on that BeautyCon call, and I told you that I'm going to meet her, and happenstance, I was talking to Melanie, and she was like, oh, you should go to this restaurant. And I was like, no, I'm going to go here. And then I happened to go to this particular property in New York City, and who do I see? Halle Berry. And who do I have a conversation with? That I was so fucking nervous. I was like, ah! And I gave her our products, and I gave her, she showed the name. I was like, this is why I gave you the name of the product. And so it was so dope to meet her. It was so cool, and it was just awesome.
Well, and it's so funny because you forget. You kind of forget. We were at the airport. We were traveling, and her and her best friend, who's our creative partner, Respin, who's been her stylist and best friend for like 20 years. We were all just like eating, having like a good time. And then the waiter was like, oh, can I have your autograph? And I'm like, autograph? And then I'm like, oh, that's right. This is not a girlfriend's lunch. You're Halle Berry.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You forget.
Well, I know you got to go, and I don't want to hold everyone up on the line, but I just want to ask, what would you tell your 18-year-old self?
Oh my gosh. Carpe diem. I live by carpe diem, seize the day. And I would be like, you just got to keep pushing. You got to keep your eyes open, and you just got to think. And it's not going to be perfect, and you're going to make bad decisions and you're going to make good decisions, and you're going to cry, and you're going to be happy, and just carpe diem, keep pushing. Like, don't ever question what you did, and like, learn, but don't look back and regret. Like, learn. And every time I'm in or out of a situation, like even DBA, like as much as I put into that, and I had to leave, like I remember Catherine saying, like, it's okay if you've outgrown it. Like, and it's super successful, and they're amazing, and I'm successful, and I've created all these things, but I took the time to be like, what did I learn? Like, in every situation, I do the painful exercise of like, what did I learn? What role did I play in that, whether good or bad? And like, what's the outcome, and how will I use this to move into something different? I do it after everything, because you have to. And so I would tell my 18-year-old self, like, carpe diem, look at the lessons along the way. Don't forget them, write them down, because we think about things, but the exercise of writing down and going back and looking is so phenomenal. And so it's not about having fear. I always am like, turn fear into faith. I've spent times where I've been like paralyzed with fear. And I'm like, nope, turn fear into faith. So like 18-year-old self, carpe diem, listen, learn along the way, think, analyze everything, and fear to faith.
That's it. Well, we have so much we could keep talking about. I mean, this is like a fucking cool ass show today. I'm gonna let you go. It's been really great.
You're the best.
Next week we have Allison Moss. You may know who she is. She created Type A deodorant. So, and she raised $2.5 million, and she's an all target. So she's coming on groupTHINK, and just want to thank you, Kendra. You know, you are a dope girl, and you're inspiration, and we look forward to doing some magical things with you. And you stay safe out there, okay?
Thank you, Troy. This was amazing. Thanks for having me. Thank groupTHINK. I'm excited to be part of this community. Be well.
Be well.
Bye.
Bye.